Nord.
Spnanon.
What should the intro be? I'm not sure. I've been thinking about it all month. What should we do for the intro?
Good afternoon. My main account is Nord. I'm standing in my room. It's Monday afternoon, September 1st, 2025, 4:14 p.m. And this is podcast recording number 1. Come on, Tweetsy. Hey, boy, there you go. Get your microphone on. That's it.
Okay, that's a pretty good intro or idea for the intro, except, it's not going to be September 1st when we record this.
It is September 1st. It's
shit, we're recording. We're recording. Hello. It's episode 119 of the Strip Poker Night of the Inventory Podcast. I'm your host, SPNanon, here with my co-host, Nord, and our returning guest, Tweetsy. He's only a returning guest.
How are you?
Don't interrupt me, or you'll never be a guest again.
Yeah.
So he is a returning guest, only if you've been listening for a while, though. I just checked. His last appearance was all the way back in March of 2022, episode 57, looks like. So it has been a while, but we're happy to see you again. Although I think my memory is fuzzy, but I think there was a snafu where he didn't test everything that was on that episode. But he's corrected that mistake, so he's here now. We're happy to have him back. So he has been working on the game and stuff for quite a while, and he was pretty eager to come back on. So, Tweetsy, please reintroduce yourself to all the viewers. What are the characters and other content that you've worked on for this game?
Hi, I'm Tweetsy. I originally was the developer for Hatsune Miku, and then I also developed, a couple years ago, Nadeshiko Kagemihara from Yuru Camp. She is my magnum opus. I am very proud of her, and if you will remember 3 years ago, I did not particularly play with the male characters, and then, long story short, I had a bi-awakening in that time, and now I play with male characters pretty frequently. Yusei and Yuno are two of my favorites. Oh, gee, I wonder why. Yusei in particular, but I've been playing male characters more often, and there's a lot. That is. But yeah, I'm really excited to be back. I, of course, am SPNatI's resident train nut, so choo-choo.
Okay, I was not aware of that part of the lore, that you are now by Tweetsy.
And how fitting that in these podcast episodes, you will be talking about 0 male characters.
Yeah, fair enough. Still some interesting
That's
characters
true.
to talk about, though.
We have an eclectic lineup to discuss these 2 episodes that Tweetsy will be on for, including some brand new content for Nadeshiko Kagemihara, as he mentioned before, cementing her place as his magnum opus. We'll be talking about that on the next episode, but we've got brand new testing roster characters. We have quite a few art updates and sort of semi-adoptions, and some main roster releases as well, some alt skins. We got all sorts of shit. So there's a lot going on. For this first episode, though, at least, I think it may go relatively quickly. Of course, I say that every time, but we can jump into it. Before we do, though, briefly, as always, it is the Host Shilling Corner. I am, as always, working on Mei and Jura's epilogues, really the assets for them, and I'm nearly there. I've done extra poses in their lineups, particularly sitting, also known as, them sitting with their legs up so you can fuck them in a more standard position anyway. I don't really feel the need to repost the entire lineups because, Solitaire, I did that last Host Shilling Corner. So Solitaire doesn't need to do or a couple Host Shilling Corners again anyway, But Solitaire doesn't need to do all that censorship again. I will say something I've also been working on. This isn't necessarily the finished version of it, but as a matter of fact, in an epilogue, you don't just need the character you're fucking, you also need yourself.
It's true.
So what I've been putting together, everyone kind of has their own approach to this, but right now what I've been working on is a generic, I don't have a male yet. I've been trying to solicit some help from Zeus and some other people, see if I can get some guidance. I guess I could ask you as well, Nord, but guidance on male models I've never really tried. I do have a generic female that I've been working on at least. Here's the beta. What do you think? First impressions? I mean, yeah, you can see I kind of based her off of like the style of Maya, Jura, and Barnett. I want her to look like fit, but she maybe looks like a little too athletic at this point. I don't know. It's hard to know how to always like characterize the female character. How do you want them to be?
I think it looks
I don't know what
pretty good.
your approaches have been.
I generally, in the past, I've just sort of made a very generic model with only the bare amount of detail for what you'd actually get to see. I have, like, in my epilogues, I don't really do full body shots of the player. That may change in a coming epilogue I'm working on, just for ease of getting certain poses across. I think you've done a really good job with this one. It certainly fits to it helps to have, if you have a player model, to make it fit the art style of whatever character you're interacting with in the epilogue. So I think that's a good idea.
Tweetsy, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think it looks really good. I think you've got something interesting here. I don't know, maybe some hair would make her look a little better because I don't know, she's looking kind of bald right now, but I think it's fine. It looks really good.
Well, I mean, the scripts as written right now are mostly in first-person POV. I don't think you're going to see your own head very much.
Fair enough.
And also, I think that's women can be bald too. Nord, would you date a bald girl?
An interesting question I don't actually have the answer to. Maybe?
Really, that would be a deal breaker?
For me, it just depends on it. For me,
Okay.
it depends on if I get along with somebody, because it's I value personality over looks. I think that's just
Okay, we're talking like 10 out of 10. You get along super well, but just not a hair on her head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty fine with that.
The comedic answer I can give is I'm fine with having a creepy slit mouth that goes from ear to ear, but I draw the line at being bald. But no, I think I wouldn't mind if I'm into the partner. So clearly this logic has to apply to Maya and Jura, right?
Well, the player's character is not literally supposed to be bald. It's just, I mean, I remember talking about Nami's epilogue. I had a hair across my ass because like the generic or male character that he made had hair. It's like this is a hate crime. You could always mentally add features, but it's a lot harder to take them away mentally. Your mind will fill in the blanks. But I mean, more broadly speaking, it's just, I feel like with the male player, like it's pretty easy to like kind of characterize like how most male players probably want to be, which is, fairly well built and kind of taller than most of the female cast. And, some level of like competent and heroic, I imagine, is what most men want to be. But for a female player, I mean, we don't have a ton of female devs or like player input. We do have some, but like, I don't know. It's hard to gauge necessarily like how would a female player want to be characterized. Like, would they want to kind of, especially in like a female epilogue, like, or lesbian epilogue, like, do they want to be more passive or more active? And, how do they want to be built in comparison to them?
I'm actually I'm working on currently the female version of the Destros epilogue, and I actually asked for a ton of advice on that front because, I want to make sure it's appealing to a female audience, just as the male version appeals to a male audience. So I got a lot of advice. My man's literally like sent me a bunch of recommendations, suggestions he got for the female version of Boris Guy's epilogue. I'm using that to kind of guide how I'm going to be moving forward with that project. But I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, there's also the character you have to take into consideration. Like, I don't know exactly what advice you got, but like, for instance, like a Jura's epilogue and Maya's as well. Like, they're both pretty assertive in their own way, and Jura especially is like of above average size and height for a woman. So it probably wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for the player character to be bigger than her, for instance, or more assertive than she is. She's kind of supposed to fill up a room. I don't know what the advice is that you got for Narushiko.
Mostly just like the sexual things, like what do like women find appealing in like an epilogue.
Yeah, I'm just talking more about like general approach with the player.
Okay.
Something that's just come to mind that I don't think we've considered before is we do have the game info command that we can use to find out what the most common tag combinations are for a player to tag themselves as when they play with your character. I'm just pulling through Maya's now from the utilities bot. So, for example, you can see a majority of players choose the largest penis option and the largest breasts option. Most of them, in terms of hair length, are untagged or short-haired.
You know, bald is pretty short hair.
Bald is 2.2%.
Yeah,
most of them are straight male.
As you can see here, I mean, pretty thin and slender and decently built. There's no one to compare this model to, but this is like taller than Barnett, but shorter than Maya, with pretty medium-sized breasts, which I think is fair. Well, we've probably dwelled on this long enough. Nora, do you have anything you want to shill?
Yes, I would like to once again shout out community member Nomlet for having helped me out a lot with my OC user key. In particular, in preparation for a epilogue that is ever succumbing to more and more scope creep, he's helped refine some character ideas I've had for Yuzuki's pen pals, her gal pals, her online friends that she meets with once a month. So you have a Jorogumo, a Kitsune, and a Yuki Onna. So here's a picture of them. Look forward to getting a hint of them as well in the epilogue.
For clarification, I believe Yuki Onna is a snow woman, not to ensure it's not confused with Kuche Sakaona.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Onna means woman. And what was it Kuragumo? The second one? Jorogumo? Yeah. Gumo means spider.
Spider-Man, does whatever spider can.
No, this is Spider-Woman.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry.
And Kitsune, all the weebs listening to this probably know what that is. But is there anything you want to say about them real quick?
Actually, yes. I'll also shout out community member Fault for having drawn some nice line art of them as well. They were taking some commissions, and so I got some art of them done. And now my OC's universe is very quickly expanding.
Out of all of these, are Kitsune actually like dangerous? Is it like where you grab their tail and they curse you? Is that a thing?
I imagine so. Generally speaking, for any myth, it typically comes down to don't piss off the spirit, even if they're friendly.
Okay, but can you piss on the spirit?
Ew.
That's your fetish, not mine.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to move into the main agenda for this episode. And we are starting off hot and ready and furious, and even a bit mechanical, with yet another Five Nights at Freddy's selection from the same creator as well, Bluecoin, who just blessed us with Glamrock Chica. Bluecoin has actually been missing in action the last few weeks as of this recording. I've not seen him around. She has not received updates, but she did drop a number of weeks ago. It is Roxy/Roxanne Wolf from the same game as Glamrock Chica, I believe, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, where they're all like very human-like compared to animatronics and other entries. I believe they have like an advanced artificial intelligence going on. I'm sure they go haywire at some point in some fashion. Maybe Nord knows more, but they function a lot more like humans. So much better fits for the game, I think you could say. So yeah, you can see she's kind of like got an anthropomorphic wolf thing going on, very much in the standard furry vein. And also got the robo fuckers in there. But she's very confident. She's very sure of herself and her own attractiveness. See, I think in a lot of ways, we'll kind of get into this, but she feels very similar to Glamrock Chica. But yeah, she's a brand new testing roster character, relatively speaking, and I think I'll let Tweetsy take it away with what's going on with her. I know when she dropped, it seems like she's pretty decently popular in the fandom. At least we had a dev or two that were really excited for her making it into the game. But yeah, Tweetsy, what did you think of her?
All right, so full confession, I jumped off the FNAF train ages ago. Like this was so like I don't really care that much about security about the FNAF franchise now beyond what little I was into when I was younger, but it's like so like I know very little about the current FNAF lore, and security breach still is like something I can't even wrap my head around. Like, oh my god, FNAF's still going on. But anyway, with Roxy, one thing I wanted to mention is, like you said earlier, I really like with like Rockstar Chica in particular, like just like with Rockstar Chica, I appreciate what Blue Coin kind of balancing the animatronic aspect with a more human-esque aesthetic. I think it's a lot more appealing than if they had just like copied the design verbatim. I think, you know, especially with a game like this, you have to have some level of balance between to make a character feel right while also, you know, tweaking them enough to feel like they belong. So, and I think Blue Coin did a really good job with that. Personality-wise, I really like her. There's definitely a level of arrogance to her I find really fun. But I mean, she isn't, but, you know, she also, you know, seems nice enough. Like, she doesn't seem like a jerk. I will also say, I think, you know, furry characters are always good to see. I know that's a very represented thing in the game. So, you know, seeing more characters, like more furry representatives, is amazing. I'm glad. I'm not personally a furry, but you know, I'm glad to see that, you know, they're like we're getting more characters in that vein. A couple negatives, well, maybe not negatives, but, you know, a couple small things. During her press trip, she mentions Foxy. I have no idea if she would even know who Foxy is. Though, then again, Grandma Chica does mention the toys, so I guess they have knowledge of what came before. Also, she needs more lines. I ended up having to play with her in the offline mode. I could not find her on like the website for the life of me, because she was taken off testing because she hadn't been developed. She's only got like 500 lines. I think she needs a lot more, but you know. So those are my thoughts.
It was, I think her forfeit dialogue did have a problem where she literally only played one line over and over because it had a higher priority and wasn't play once.
That kind of works for a robot. Like, she just gets stuck in a loop.
I unfortunately do know a bit more about the franchise up to this point. Roxanne is very much a rock star with self-esteem issues. You catch her in some moments like trying to hype herself up, and much like Chica, she gets completely destroyed over the course of the game, and you take her eyeballs to upgrade Freddy.
Jesus Christ, that's awful.
It's
dude. She has self-esteem issues. Why would you do that?
It's great.
Sure.
I do want to say that Blue Coin always does really well with art and posing. His posing, I think, has gotten even more expressive with Chica and Roxy. I think maybe it's part of the challenge of having to make the body language more expressive because the face doesn't give you as much to work with when you have to deal with like animal mouth. I do think more so than Chica, Roxy feels like she's leaning more towards the furry appeal than the robot appeal. The game I played with her was pretty cool. I did it as a female player at an all-female table, so I didn't see any of her lines towards dudes this time, but I remember playtesting her when she came out. Hasn't really changed much since then. I don't even know if she's gotten any updates. Hopefully Blue Coin is just taking a bit of a break and comes back to her. Overall, like, I think she's like got a good solid foundation going. She just needs to be updated to get across the line.
Yeah, I too. Like, I'm not sure what's going on with him, if he's just taking a break or not. But I was not aware that she had self-esteem issues. I mean, as far as I could tell, she just seemed genuinely pretty confident in herself all game.
Honestly, I feel like maybe if he emphasized that a little more, I think you could have a super interesting character.
So let me talk about her art, which is mostly positive. It's a lot like glam rock Chica. You can kind of see like they're kind of built from the same mold. They have some of the same detailing. They both have his preferred breast style that he's kind of adapted to all of his models now, which is, admittedly a very good one. So you could be a lot worse. But I mean, it's kind of what I said with Glam Rock Chica as well. Like, the model is not exactly 1-to-1. She doesn't look or move particularly robotically, especially compared to like these GIFs you see here there that we posted, where they're a bit more like stilted and limited in like how they can move, and their heads are bigger, and like their expressions are more uncanny, whereas here they're very human-like. That was my general impression, like for like Chica and Roxy as well, where it just like it feels like they're leaning very far away from the robotic aspects, and they really just kind of feel like people for the most part. Even when they talk about quirks of being a robot, they always express them in a pretty human way, which, I mean, for game appeal, I mean, it certainly works. It perhaps makes them more generally appealing. It's just perhaps not totally true to the source material. Again, maybe that's the right call. I'm not really the target audience here, but like for me, like she came off less like a robot and more like giving me like a Crystal vibe, from Star Fox. She kind of has. I mean, I know she's like, she feels a lot more furry than robot. Which, hey, it's a different kind of appeal. It still works. But back to the art. I wrote down surprise bust size. She looks a lot bigger once, like, I guess it's like a hard plate on her chest comes off, keeping them bottled up. She emotes with her ears, kind of lowering and raising with her mood. That's fun. That's a fun thing to do with like a canine character. She does have very nice boobs and good boob squish. She's gotten quite experienced with that. I do still think, like with Chica, they demand explanation. This is sort of a broader thing. Again, she's supposed to be a children's entertainer robot. Why she has such appealing natural features here, and with her face and her big soft boobs and her fully functional vagina, and why is she interested in sex? Again, I don't know, not really explained, not really explored. That's something I thought Chica was missing as well. Like, even though they are appealing as characters just in a vacuum, I am constantly asking myself how this relates to like being a robot.
Asbear Entertainment would absolutely do this if it earned them $1.
Well, sure, but you need to write it that way. Like, we branched out into the adult business. I don't know, adult entertainment. But yeah, her posing, like the body, the face, the mouth. Again, she's got like a snout to work with, so I get it. But like, they can be a little static sometimes. I mean, maybe that makes sense because she's a robot. But I think the appeal is pretty easy to see here. Chica is a lot more like kind of out there inherently because she's like a chicken. People don't fap to anthropomorphic chickens quite as much as wolves and foxes and that kind of thing. Her forefit also felt a little muted. I complain about this a lot, but I wasn't sure exactly when she was close to coming. Let's get to the writing, though, real quick. I've said a lot already about how she's very similar to Chica, and I think not always explored as fully as maybe she should be in relation to her source. But I do think she's more smug and overall a bit more characterful compared to Chica. Apparently she's got more going on than just being smug. Apparently she has self-esteem issues. But even with just on the surface smugness, I mean, it's fun enough. She's not like really abusive to other characters. And in any kind of aggressive way. She's just very sure and confident of herself. But of course, that always comes back to the source as well. So it's like, okay, is she programmed to be extremely confident? You know, it's like, why? Why does she think she's the best? Because, you know, like she's a robot anthropomorphic wolf. Like there's nobody really like her to begin with. So who is she comparing herself to when she says like she's super hot and she's like just the best in all regards? It's just weird because she's like this furry robot. I'm not saying I can't roll with it. I'm just like, again, I'm wondering what's in the deep recesses of her subroutines. Yeah, she acts like a person a lot. Wonder again, why is she built for sex? The whole like robot worker thing feels very downplayed. The wolf aspects of her feel downplayed. There is some good stuff here. I think there was a couple lines about it, like a size difference or a weight difference, that angle, how it relates sexually, or like revving her up, because apparently she's into like go-karts. It's not super clear. I think she mentioned go-karts a couple times. She even got a bit philosophical by the end. Oh, do you know the go-kart lore, Nord?
Yeah, so to defeat Roxy, you have to go to Roxy Raceway or something like that, and you run her over with your car. With a go-kart.
It's like Mario Kart. It's just like Mario Kart. Oh no.
That's a pretty weak ass death. How can a mere go-kart destroy this super advanced animatronic?
It doesn't destroy her.
Is this game like Dead Rising or something, where you just have to run around a pizzeria and kill all the animatronics in their little domains?
Pretty much, yeah.
Except for Freddy, who's apparently a good guy in this game for whatever reason.
Well, overall, I mean, oh man, Dead Rising is getting to be a pretty old reference, isn't it? But I mean, overall, I keep comparing her to Chica, and I think in a lot of ways she's just a lot like Chica. It's like, I mean, she's got the same things that I like. She's generally pretty appealing and a pleasant table presence, but in other ways, she feels kind of underexplored. So, assuming Blue Coin is not dead, I guess we'll see where he takes both of them. But yeah, those are my thoughts for now. What about the rest of you two?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah,
that's pretty. It's pretty. That makes sense. Yeah.
I think I agree with most of what you said. Decent foundation, would just be nice to see more and to see if Blue Coin can differentiate her from Chica a bit. I do like the direction he took her in, so hopefully he comes back to finish her. Okay,
well, from a brand new testing roster character to the epitome of old content, perhaps, we have Rin from Katawa Shoujo, the armless wonder, the girl who paints with her feet. She's kind of stoned out of her mind all the time, or at least she acts like it. She's been in the game for a while. I want to say 2019, maybe early 2019, by Sentimental Rotom, who I think has left, but this was sort of his last project before doing so. He had been around for a while since that entire time. Rin was, I believe, his first project, and I was always very entertained and relatively impressed by her, especially her writing and her general entertainment value. But yeah, he had a model update cooking for a while on testing. We talked about it relatively recently. I think I can't remember exactly when, but she had been on testing for a while, and he got her back on main before he left. He wanted to make sure she was there, and I think like generally the attitude I had at least was like it's solid work by itself, but I think just like for like subjective reasons maybe, or at least like I didn't personally agree with the direction that it went in. But I will say it is nice at least that it didn't go to waste, that she's back on main. I'll get more into it when it's my turn. But Tweetsy, now that Rin has been fully revamped with a new costume and everything, she's got an evergreen costume. What's your opinion on her?
So,
also, I'm drawing a blank. What's her last name? Or is Rin her
I
last name?
don't even remember. We can look it up later. But
Tezuka.
anyway,
Tezuka Rin.
Okay.
Rin Tezuka.
Oh yeah.
Tezuka. Okay, so Rin Tezuka, unlike Security Breach, I have played, in quotes, Katawa Shoujo, i.e. watched somebody play it, and we did go through the Rin route, and so I'm pretty familiar with his character. I do like the new outfit a lot. I've really been enjoying seeing, at least for like the more recent updates for Katawa Shoujo characters that are in the game, like Hanako, and I like Hanako, for instance, where they're going for a more casual look as opposed to the school uniform. I really like seeing that because because casual outfits in general just look a lot more interesting. I think because especially if you have characters all from the same franchise, a bunch of school uniforms is going to get really, really, really boring. And for Rin, the overalls are with the paint splatters is a perfect choice, because she's a painter, and so yeah. I will say I don't think I'm the biggest fan of the new face. I don't know. It doesn't quite look like Rin. I don't know why. I feel like some adjustment may have been needed, but I don't think it's bad by any means. I think, I believe Sentimental Rotom's intention was to make the face look more like Emmy, but Katawa Shoujo is also a game franchise, a game where, every character is like drawn by different artists, and I don't know, when you try to make a character look more like, another, like our franchise made with a game like, with something like Katawa Shoujo, it kind of gets rid of the more unique aspects of it, to be fair. Like, okay, long story, I hope that made sense. Did I make any sense?
Yes, you made sense.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're going to mirror the same sentiments.
Okay. Also, I do think she's expressive, but part of it is, she is, but, Rin's a very nonchalant character. Like, she's, so for me, like, I think some of these more expressive faces, feels a little bit out of character, almost. Now, it's still hilarious. Now, her nonchalantness is still hilarious, but, I feel like, there should have been, like, a balance struck between, like, a more nonchalant, being more nonchalant and being more expressive. I think there's a good example for me, I was thinking about it, would be of a similar character that's very nonchalant, but I think still has a decent range of emotions, is Sakuraku from Eurocamp Sister Series Mono. She's a very nonchalant character, but she has, little, some subtle expressions that I think make her really fun. But so I think if Rin had gone that direction, that could have been good. But then again, Eurocamp and Mono tend to have very, over the top anime exaggeration, whereas Katawa Shoujo doesn't. So yeah, just throw that one out the window. And also, I kind of feel like she could have used custom breasts. I get why she probably didn't, but it's also like, I think it would have helped elevate this model from like good to great. Also, when I was playing a game with Nadeshiko, she was talking when Nadeshiko did her breast reveal. Rin responded, nothing a little exaggeration couldn't fix, and I'm like, damn, that's kind of mean. But I get part of it was, that was supposed to be an artist joke. Anyway, y'all, floor's yours. What are y'all's thoughts on Rin?
I think she is supposed to be kind of like a little innocently mean at times, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
from what I remember of her route is
also Nord, before you start talking, post her default breasts. Tweets, you mentioned them.
Oh yes, right away, sir.
Disgusting. Death.
As I said to you a minute ago, Tweetsy, I think we're going to mirror a lot of the same sentiment. I do want to compliment that, like, the clothing in general is a vast improvement. over what it was before. As time goes on and people are revising the Katawa Shoujo characters, like was done with Hanako, to give her like casual outfit for her default instead. I think it's the right approach to do the same with Rin and her overalls. I do think that to actually articulate what's wrong with the face, it's that the eyes, while they look more similar to Emi and Hanako, that's sort of a downside, because she's supposed to look a bit more dopey-eyed. Like, she's supposed to like have big, no iris eyes that show that like her head's in the clouds. I'm actually trying to find the actual in-game sprites, but I've just posted here one of the cutscene sprites where you can see what her face looks like.
Yeah, she's got the big anime bug eyes. She's got Clannad eyes.
And just revisiting Rin for like this whole thing, I hate to like pile on a bunch of negative feedback after she's already been through testing and Rotom's already left, but I think it's worth at least putting these thoughts out there in case anyone else decides to adopt her in future. The animations never got improved as far as I can tell, and sort of feel like they're only half there. For example, the shirt coming apart could be done in multiple frames, or like her pants actually dropping and being pulled down. The bra strip in particular looked wrong. Like, I wasn't really sure what was happening. I like thinking about it, I guess it was that like she was warding the player off from like just grabbing her tits, but that happens in the line of dialogue before the animation plays, so it fell out of place there. And as has been pointed out, their lack of any custom body detailing is a bit of a shame. I did notice some other issues as well. There was no real level of wetness for her forefit, which, to be honest, could just be an oversight, but it also means it doesn't look like she's enjoying it until, she came. Well, very well then. Using the new Kisuke options we have, you can move the legs around a lot more than the default poses to make it more interesting.
That's true. If anyone should be really should have a lot of dexterity with her legs, it should be Rin, huh?
I actually, like, I wasn't even sure if I was going to say this point or not, but I almost feel like if there was ever a character to get custom legs and custom feet, it should be Rin. Although I will point out the irony in saying that, given that Katawa Shoujo never went so far as to make that obvious connection.
Oh, dude, get the Serena guy to do Rin. That would go hard.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Stealth would do amazing. Stealth, do it. We'd love for you to do it, please.
Hopefully he checks this episode out.
Overall, I hate to say it, but this sort of feels like a very middle ground kind of update. Like, I feel like more could have been done to like make it fully complete as like an actual like full overhaul. It's like, it's fine for what it is, and it's definitely improvement when it comes to the clothing itself, and like there's nothing terribly wrong for it. I just feel like if someone was to adopt her, they could consider doing another art pass on her.
Yeah, like from when we spoke about her last, she hasn't really changed. You know, we gave our thoughts. Rotom kind of respectfully disagreed and plowed ahead with his own approach. And, you know, credit at least, you know, he got her back on main. And I don't think it like completely butchered her or anything. Like, it's not all worse. It's just, you know, it's a miss for me personally because of what was said about her expressiveness. It's so, I said this last time, it's so ironic that by making her more expressive, she kind of got worse because she's not supposed to be expressive. But yeah.
I mean, it's like leagues better than the rework. What was her name? Lot got with the Poochie dude.
I mean, a lot kind of worked out in the end. He just needed a lot of help.
Fair.
Or a lot of pushing. But like this isn't all bad. Like, her having the default painter's outfit is legitimately really nice. Although I do think like even in her school uniform, she does look pretty unique because, she has no arms and she wears the collar and tie very loose. She's wearing a boy's uniform. I think that's a plot point, right? Because it's easier for her, and she's not wearing any shoes. So I think she stands out in that way. And yeah, it's a shame that the strips are not very visual. It's kind of got I wrote the mannequin approach where it just kind of falls off of her because it's like they're all like the player with the transparent grabby hands coming in. She also has, I noticed she's very heavy eye ridges, almost like eyeliner or like a brow ridge. I try to keep that to a minimum in my own art. I don't personally like it that much, even if it does make sense. But anyway, she had a vibrating finish animation. I thought that was pretty good. I think it was a pretty efficient like effects, basically. Like even though I don't think there were too many assets, but the animation itself looked pretty good. I think it was used pretty efficiently. So again, not all bad, just not the direction I would have gone in. And like she's still a pretty entertaining character. My favorite part of her, even back in like 2019, was always the writing. Her dialogue remains super fun to read. She's got a lot of puns, a lot of shower thoughts, a lot of moments where she can be innocently insensitive or rude or whatever. Her head's in the clouds. But it's she's one of those characters where it's definitely it's always worth it to see what she has to say for any situation. She lost very hard in my game with her. She got a bit depressive almost. I felt kind of bad. But, I guess when you have no hands, you end up getting pretty bad hands. That's Rin, though, back on the main roster, if nothing else.
Yeah,
so
honestly, I think with her, I don't think, anybody who chooses to pick her back up, won't have a hard time having just, needing just, all the current model just needs some updates. And I honestly think it would be perfect. I think, custom breasts, maybe a readjustment of the face. And I think from there, I think you'd have a pretty serviceable model to go. And then, fixing up the animations, I think I definitely think, Rin could definitely be better, but I definitely think she is not in the worst possible place. So yeah, I think so that's my thoughts anyway.
Okay, well, we don't have to go far. We are staying on the main roster for our final entry here. We're sliding into home, into the Lost Woods. That's a mixed metaphor, but a few episodes ago, we devoted quite a lot of discourse to Saria from The Legend of Zelda. Not Ocarina of Time, okay? Not that one. The one from Hyrule Conquest, okay? She's a little older and taller. It's a fan design, but it's she's still got the whole like wood elf sprite thing going on, and again, a lot of academic research and market research went into this character. A lot of surveying the public, a lot of talking and arguing was to be had. But I think she came over the hump pretty well and has made it to the main roster, and I think in a pretty decent state. I quite like her, at least. I think she's very fun to play with. But Tweetsy, I and Nord, we've obviously given our thoughts on her in the past. So, Tweetsy, what did you think of Saria in her finished form?
So I think she's pretty all right. Okay, so to be 100% transparent, and I want to just I hope y'all are okay with me saying this. I was, a critic of Saria, not because of her, but a lot of my personal concerns and such like that about what it might lead to, but what she could potentially lead to. However, after playing with Saria in the game, I do actually think she is a pretty decent character. I thought she was really fun. For one, I like the outfit a lot. It's a very it feels very earthy, which is, I guess it's fitting for a woodland elf. The corset being, the corset looks really good. The brown and green go really well together. So there is that. One thing I like is how she plays the ocarina. And so the fact you actually see, the triangle notes that you would have, is super cool. I don't know if she's actually playing anything specific. I've not ever played Ocarina of Time, but I really, really need to at some point. So maybe, if any of y'all know, maybe, tell me what is she playing? Like, is she playing like the Song of Storms or something like that? I don't know.
Okay, so I've spoken with Grape Ghost about this a bit. So Grape Ghost did the writing, Namasp did the art. Former co-host, Namasp, because he does like his girls petite. But yeah, so I've spoken to them about it. This was actually sort of my idea a little bit, as well as having collectibles related to it. But yeah, so some of the Ocarina lines are like actual songs from the game, and I think some of them are just made up. And she has like custom like Unicode characters for like the N64 buttons and like the C stick directions, how you play the notes. Now I have played Ocarina. That was a while ago. I do not remember how all the songs go. I did recognize some of them, but not others. Mostly the simple ones. It is a bit of a shame though that the environment, the ones that have an effect on the environment, like she plays the songs, but you don't see the effect.
That's fair.
I thought if she had like custom code, it'd be really funny if she changed the background to make it turn into night or cause a hurricane. Anyway, go ahead, continue.
So one thing, actually, because I played all the new testing characters all like in the same go, and I noticed that Saria commented that Roxy had the smell of oil. I have never played Hyrule Conquest. I never heard of it until Saria came onto testing. So like, I'm questioning like, is that like, because apparently the Great Deku Tree is dead in Hyrule Conquest. Did it like catch on fire? Was it like an oil fire that killed the Great Deku Tree or something?
No, but like cooking oil has existed for thousands of years.
Okay, fair enough. I will say, I think the euphemism of her like down there is like being a forest temple. I thought that was hilarious. So, and I think he also did a really good job. Making Saria look very like adult and mature. I think that to me is, and I'll admit a lot of my concerns, like, wasn't with Saria herself, but, more so like what it could potentially lead to. I think, though, I very much trust the moderators of this community. They are, the fact, I like SPNatI because we are so careful about the content we include. So I think Great Ghost did a great job of Saria. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. I think you did fantastic work. Keep it up, dude. I'm proud of you.
I think Grape Ghost is a they.
Oh, sorry. I just use dude for everybody. And
okay, yeah, we're all dudes here.
I feel like dude is sufficiently gender neutral these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I use dude with everybody. I don't care who. I'm just like, hey girl, hey dude, how you doing?
All right, Nord, how have your feelings changed?
Well, I'll give a slight bit of meta commentary myself and say that I think Saria is a good case study in how to appropriately age up a character that may be a hard sell, and like you put sufficient effort in to really show in art and dialogue. Yeah, they're like more mature than they are in canon. I will just make the statement that I think that Saria, like, just overall, I feel like Saria has been more heavily scrutinized than any other character who's potentially been added to this game, and I do think it has paid off for the efforts of both Namasp and Grape Ghost. Now, in terms of Saria as an actual character, this was my first time seeing her banter with Jura, and Saria said, "Oh, I'm used to dealing with dumb blonde princesses," and I actually laughed out loud, and I'm glad that no one was home but me at 11 at night when I was actually keeling over with laughter.
Apparently she's quite jealous of Zelda. I guess Zelda got with Link in this universe. Sorry, I was hoping to tap that. She's like, look, I'm all grown up now. Oh, no, he's fucking another girl. Oh. No, I'm legal now. It's cool.
My dad died. It's cool. I think she did a good enough job, especially early on, at hinting that she has a fair amount of combat experience, including in some of the banter she had. She is, I'll just say, delightfully horny. Like, is clearly written as having a fair amount of experience. Maybe more experience than you'd expect her to have, but as I alluded to, that's like a good way of showing, yeah, this character's more mature. It's not like they're a barely legal virgin for you to defile, which has always felt icky with a lot of the much older or made a long time ago schoolgirl characters in particular.
Agreed.
Yeah, I wrote some targets with her. She clarifies she is 41, which shocks Maya and Jura, and they immediately start calling her Miss because she's older than almost everyone on the crew, and apologizing.
But anyway, yeah, I took a very similar approach with Nadeshiko, when I was writing her, because I did not like the ENF schoolgirl trope at all. Because I've made the mistake with Mika when I was writing her of making her ENF, not intentionally. I mean, keep in mind she was my first character, so cut me some slack. But with Nadeshiko, I wanted to avoid that. So I took, the opportunity, basically say while she's inexperienced, she has had, flings, and I think, I think that idea was very similar, between both characters, with how he approached Saria, I think was very similar. I think it's important, especially with a game like this, you have to, you have to find way, for me, even a character, you cannot make it seem like a character doesn't want to be there, or just forcing themselves to be there, because that's not only really disturbing, it's just not fun.
At least, there are ways to write an ENF, a very inexperienced character, in ways that don't give people the ick.
We're talking a lot about embarrassed characters for a character that's not embarrassed at all, really.
Or giving a point of reference.
Another point I didn't actually put in my notes, but the Grape Ghost did a great job giving Saria their own specific terminology for different acts, different positions, that are very much framed in the what was it, Wolfo's style for one is one that stood out. So overall, that also just shows
taking you to the Gibdo zone, or is Stalfos? Is that the bone one? The skeleton? Stalfos.
That does just show another layer of thinking about how the character would actually refer to such things. I am going to, however, curse Namasp to go back to the Kisake mines here and there. Her costume in particular, her conquesting one, does seem to have a few image issues still left over, of her cape in particular reappeared for one or two strip poses after it had already been long gone. I know she had skin tone issues, but I think those have been fixed, where there was a mismatch in that.
I was going to mention that as well. I also played her with her chieftain, her Hyrule Conquest outfit, and yeah, it was a little buggy. And also, it's just it's very visually similar to the default. So it's a little hard to notice the difference sometimes. They're both very green, very different shades of green all over her. She's Leafy, the good ending. Take that in the nicest possible way.
That's a throwback. I think it would have been cool to see the similar costume be used as an excuse for a radically different strip order. But it is what it is. It's the two costumes, they're somewhat similar, but they both have she does take off things slightly differently, I'm pretty sure. You may not notice it if you're not paying attention. But overall, I think she's turned out really well. I think Grape is eager to get more targets and keep updating her, but they're also moving on to their next projects. So we'll see.
I'm not sure what their next project is. Oh, well, they got a couple cooking. Some Zelda related.
Couples cooking. They're waiting on models to determine what will happen next.
Yeah, the Groose is going to come loose. That's only halfway a joke. But yeah, I mean, my thoughts haven't really changed because I already thought she was very well put together to begin with. She has not radically changed coming on to main, and we said a lot about her last time, probably more than necessary. So I just have a bunch of miscellaneous thoughts here. I just noticed as I was playing her, the smooth curved waist. That's something that a lot of characters are given now. Kisekaya waists can look a little like jagged and kind of angular by default. You can kind of lean into that with the shading, give them more depth if the character is supposed to look very taut and slender and fit. But if you want to give them a more like softer, plushy look instead, you can go with this approach. A number of characters have been doing this recently where you kind of smooth it out with a curve. And I think that looks nice on her. Her teasing / flirty faces still peak. I wrote, I love the very intense blush. She gets all over herself. She's got a lot of she has a lot of very rambly, horny lines towards the end. She uses the term human a couple times. I thought that was interesting because what is a human? What counts as a human in Hyrule? Everyone's humanoid, but no one's actually just a straight up human race. Closest would be Hylians, I guess. And deep pockets are the norm. That's another line I pointed out. I guess she says that at some point. I think that's just a funny reference to how Link can carry a million things. 99 bombs or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty funny. Again, she's very good about slipping in those references without it feeling too overbearing and kind of specific to one game in particular. Also, I have this very vexing note because I played with her a while ago. Why come on knees? Oh, I think it's because she gets up onto her knees. She was sitting down, but then when she actually comes, she gets up on her knees. I hate when characters do that. Just let me see her butthole winking. I don't know. It just seems like it would hurt. Why is she on her knees? Kneeling hurts. Come on your butt. Don't live on your knees. I mean, she should know all about that she's a conquesting chieftain. But yeah, very good character. Again, the hardest part is the cell. The hardest part is just getting people over the hump of Saria, the little kid from Ocarina of Time. But really, even in that game, she's quite mature compared to all of her childlike peers. She kind of talks and carries herself a lot more like an adult. So it's not that hard to just scale her up and fill her out a little bit, and she's basically just an adult. So it's not really that much of a stretch. Yeah, that is Saria, one of the latest main roster characters. Any final input on her? Either of you?
Back to the Kisake mines for you, Namasp. Anyway, that's all I had to say.
She could definitely do with an outfit that has no green in it, just for variety.
Maybe a red outfit,
She had a red tunic. She's going to Death Mountain.
I don't know, like a Christmas elf outfit would be fun.
Make it the one where it's the fireproof suit of armor.
That's what I was talking about. You gotta save that for Link. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it. As I said, very eclectic mix of characters, but all pretty interesting projects to discuss. I think we did it in a reasonable amount of time. So, oh shit! It's over already. This episode's done. Fuck. Nord, what should the outro be?
Fuck, I didn't think of a closing Back to the Future reference. Where we're going, we don't.
The future is what you make it, so make it a good one.
Alts, where we're going, we don't need alts. Da, 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 da.
Cue the music. Put it in Solitaire. It's not like we can make any money off it anyway.
Yes, copyrighted.
Dun, 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 da, 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 da.
Okay. Solitaire, throw this in. Hold on. Throw this in. I forgot to bitch about this. I didn't see any butt pose on Saria.
You didn't see any butt sex? You serious, bro?
I didn't see any butt pose, and I'm mad as hell, and I can't believe I didn't mention that, but yeah. You aged her up, and I still can't see her little butt. Come on. She got up off of her butt, for God's sake, to come. I want to see her butt. Sorry. Throw that in.
Back to the Kisake mines for the Namasp.